afternoon. Everyone repeat after me, please. Turquoise Quicentennial. That's what we're doing today. We're celebrating 175 years. The word of our family at Acadia University has for 175 years been yes. When the Nova Scotia government of the 1820s and 1830s said, no, you may not study in a place other than Halifax for higher education, our forebears said, yes, we will study here. Where other institutions said no to people of different religious, cultural, and racial backgrounds, Acadia, in its charter, paved the way by saying yes to all who would seek to study here.
This is a significant milestone for Acadia, 175 years of educating youth and starting them on their life's journey. And it's a milestone for those of us who are able to come and visit, but also our alumni who are around the world and contributing wherever they are. That is what we're really celebrating today. The contributions that our graduates have made in this world. Our reputation is international, and we are well respected as a university.
First of all, Acadia is a great place to grow. I think that is one of the outstanding features of this university over its history, and I think it is in no little way attributable to the founding of this institution on the basis that no religious tests would be applied to students or faculty. And I think it has imbued this university and all those who have had the privilege to be here with an independence of character that is unique in institutional generation of the graduates that go on to serve society.
It is my pleasure to bring congratulations on behalf of the province for this momentous and historic anniversary. From its humble beginnings, built so many years ago here in the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia, Acadia University has become a fixture of higher learning and culture. Here in the heart of beautiful Wolfville, the next generation of Nobel laureates, CEOs, and renowned artists and civic leaders are receiving one of the best educations available in Canada. Congratulations, Chancellor Burham and President Ivany. On this wonderful anniversary, I wish your students, faculty, and alumni all the best in their future endeavors. Sincerely, Stephen McNeil, Premier. Thank you.
Acadia means everything to me. Wolfville means everything to me. I am so pleased to be part of this afternoon and honored and to see so many people take time from their day to celebrate this historic occasion, 175 years of Acadia. And Mr. President, I congratulate you where you are now and where you're headed. Good luck and thanks very much.
This is indeed a historic day for Acadia. We are among friends and colleagues celebrating a milestone that few institutions in Canada have reached. Acadia's founding 175 years ago today was an act of courage and faith. Our founders had little but the support of the community and a vision for what a place of higher education should offer its students and faculty. They could not have imagined the journey this institution would take over the past 175 years. However, I am certain they would be proud of what we, our students, faculty, staff, and alumni have achieved, and how they have distinguished Acadia. They would be proud of our well-deserved reputation for excellence, both inside and outside the classroom. And they would be proud of all of you who are here today to celebrate this anniversary. On behalf of the university's Board of Governors, thank you all for coming today and for the support you have shown for Acadia and everything that it stands for.
The founders embraced a diverse student body in terms of religion, but I think they'd be quite surprised if they came here today and saw the increased presence of women as students, the fact that we have students here from every province in Canada and from many international countries around the world. So they'd be surprised at a lot that has changed. I'd like to think, though, that they'd also be pleased at some of the things that have stayed the same. The most important thing I think that stayed the same is the nature, the essence of an Acadia education. And that is a close personal relationship between the faculty members and the students. We get to know our students quite well, and they get to know us quite well. It's a two-way street, and we both learn from each other. And whether it's in the classroom or working together on research, in the lab, in the library, in the field, whether it's in extracurricular activities, We know our students, and we think that helps give us a better education, give them a better education and a better preparation for tomorrow.
175 years of excellence is certainly something that we should be tremendously proud of. While universities across this country have changed, often losing values of a personalized education, Acadia has truly stood the test of time. We are an academic institution that values the individual, seeing them as a face and a name rather than just a number. I want to thank all of you who are here today for making this place what it is. And I hope that we can all work together into the future, ensuring that the values and vision of this university can continue as they are.
To kick off that celebration, it was decided that we should wisely honor people that have helped pave the way for the Acadia that we know today and the history that we cherish as members of this community. So it is our pleasure here today, Matthew and myself, to make the first of a number of announcements that will be made this afternoon.
This university was built on the principle of open access for all. In 2009, our chancellor was the keynote speaker at an event in Toronto that celebrated the 125th anniversary of Clara Belle Marshall, the first woman to earn a degree from Acadia. Clara Belle was one of the earliest women graduates in the British Commonwealth and broke profoundly important barriers in doing so. Today, the majority of Acadia students are women, a trend that is growing stronger within post-secondary education across this country. It is a trend that I am proud to say started here.
To honor this achievement and what it means to Acadia's uniqueness and its rich history, the Board of Governors has agreed to install a plaque honoring Clara Belle Marshall Raymond in University Hall in permanence so that all future graduates, as they enter Convocation Hall on Convocation weekend, will be reminded of our proud history and the contributions of Clara Belle and her wonderful spirit to challenge convention, break new ground. Clara Belle was a true Canadian pioneer, a hero, and she's ours to celebrate forever.
It gives me great pleasure today to invite Rebecca Bose, a Clara Belle Marshall Scholarship recipient, as well as members of Clara's family. Today we have David, Anne, who are great-grandchildren of Clara Belle, as well as Mary Lou, their mother. We'll invite them to the easel here to unveil the plaque.
From the Athenaeum, November 1938, and it is a poem entitled Grad's Regret. Acadia campus, where each breeze whispers wisdom through the trees, where today an arc of blue cheers the students, not a few, where the verdure on the lawn, though the growing season's gone, smiles through fallen leaves to mock at winter's white, untimely frock, where proudly alma mater stands with century-old, warm, willing hands. I who in this office toil, I who plow this stubborn soil, I who now on business roam, I who idly sit at home, would a student be again, would walk with women and with men. Acadia campus, where each breeze whispers wisdom through the trees.
Well, we've started a birthday celebration, I think, in good style, in honoring Clara Belle Marshall Raymond. A university today, and really from the earliest times, could not get there without the sacrifice of many, including our faculty and staff. The story of our founding is inspiring in so many ways. But from the earliest times, Acadia was supported by donors. It was supported by those who believed in the institution. We were actually founded at a time before it was the norm that the province and governments would provide appropriations to universities. So it was founded entirely out of that spirit of generosity. Interestingly, and perhaps appropriately given today, The recent gifts have totaled something in the order of $750,000. So a considerable amount of money. But you will note that we're here today to celebrate our 175th. And I am very, very pleased and honored to announce today an extraordinarily generous gift from the children of Andrew H. McCain. So Nancy, the class of '82, who's with us today, Stephen, the class of '81, Margie, the class of '77, Allison, Linda, and Kathy have provided a gift to Acadia to get to that 175 number. The gift in the amount of $1 million, and in tribute to their father's abiding love of hockey, and to ensure the future quality of a rink that is part of the community. And the gift will transform that arena. It will look and feel very, very different after we've gone through this renovation that will be provided by the gift. And from that time forward, it will be known as the Andrew H. McCain Arena. And I now invite Nancy to come forward and join us.
On behalf of my 5 siblings, I want to say how happy we are to be making this contribution to the university and to the community of Wolfville. In making this donation, we are trying to accomplish 2 objectives that were very important to us. First, we wanted to do something to honor our father, Andrew McCain, a former student at Acadia, a lifelong hockey fan, and a big believer in the importance of education. And that's education that's attained not only in the classroom, but on the sports field. He cared a lot about Acadia, and I can tell you he would be thrilled to have his name on the arena. Second, we really wanted to support Acadia. It's a university that's very much part of our family heritage, with 3 generations of McCain's as alumni, including my father, my brother Stephen, my sister Margie. I have a nephew who graduated from business school a few years ago, and I currently have a niece who's pursuing a science degree here. This investment in the arena, which we believe will benefit both the community and the campus, and the opportunity to honor our father's legacy in a really meaningful way, exactly met our goals. When President Ivani and Rod Morrison proposed it to us, it really was an easy decision, and we do hope that this donation will improve an already great place and help future generations to enjoy and have a wonderful experience at this university. So thank you, Ray, thank you, Rod, and now we have the renovations to do.
Because of what we've been given, there is much that we need to expect of ourselves to contribute to develop this university. Our founders may or may not be surprised that 175 years in, that the task of institution building is far from over. I went back and I want to share with you just 3 brief quotes from our 50th anniversary, from our 100th, and from our 150th. So the first is from Dr. John Cramp, former president of Acadia, on the occasion of our 50th anniversary. From the past history of Acadia College, we predict a coming greatness. This noble endeavor, this persevering effort, the earnest continued prayer of those who cannot have labored in vain warrant the conviction that there is before it a future of solid usefulness, of steady growth, and enduring renown. So a fairly aggressive statement of what they expected at that time. Really quite interesting in some ways, because just 25 years after that, there are a number of notations in the historical record of Acadia graduates being recognized, one in particular by Yale University, of no university, great or small, has among us a higher reputation for the quality of its work than Acadia. So they set a lofty goal, but immediately went out in pursuit of it. The second, at our 100th anniversary, from Dr. Patterson, picks up a different theme, but one which very much, I think, flows from the first. Change is inevitable. What form it will take and what changes it may demand of us, we cannot know, as Dr. Ogilvie reflected on in his remarks. but we can be so alert and so vital that whatever the changes of the future, we shall use them and not be outmoded by them. The old spirit of Acadia must clothe itself with the new forms and express itself in the needs of each generation. So they're building very firmly on that first 100 years, but with a bold call to use those traditions and embrace a future in ways that would be different than what had brought it success previously. And then our 150th, and wonderful to have Dr. Perkin with us today, and these are his words. So not that far back, Jim, and I'm sure you'll remember this. The contribution universities will make to Canadian society during the rest of this century must not be seen only in terms of the number of engineers or translators or chemists or historians they graduate, but also in terms of the kind of people these individuals are. If I could take Acadia in any particular direction to assist in developing students, I would want them to become citizens who are broadly educated with practical skills and who have thought about the ethical issues of the day. So, Jim, I think you were prescient actually in those comments. And it does bring us in many ways to today. And what I would say to colleagues is that the type of university that Acadia represents, again, Diane noted, is lamentably increasingly rare in the Canadian context. And I think there's a level of seriousness with which we must view that trend, because it will either define us, it will either push us further to the extremes or margins of Canadian post-secondary education, or in fact, we will use that position to influence what is regarded as the norm of Canadian higher education. So there's a lofty task at hand for us in the next number of years that I think really picks up on those themes that I just shared. Part of it for our students is to launch them on a journey of imaginative introspection towards their most authentic selves. That transcends any discipline or any subject matter. There's something magical that happens between human beings when deep learning is involved. We touch our students in a way in those positions that actually is an integral part of their educational experience and an integral part of building that social fabric that our students constantly tell us is so important to them. They feel cared about. They feel part of a community. They feel part of a family. I hope our founders would be proud that that is still a motivating force and in many ways is the primary driving force behind Acadia. Just as we celebrated at 50, 100, and 175, those leaders at each of those points in time celebrated the past and looked boldly to a future, not one that they even pretended to be able to predict, but one where they had a fierce resolve that the essence of Acadia, the fundamental strength, would serve it well as adapted to those changes. And I think we do the same here today. If anybody in the room needed any inspiration, I now have the good fortune to share it with you, because we're going to honor two individuals that have figured prominently in the history of Acadia, and we're going to celebrate them in a way today that will have their names and their contribution linked to the university in perpetuity. Dr. James Perkin. And Dr. Perkin, with us today, came to Acadia in 1969 as a professor of religious studies, followed an incredible path in his time at Acadia, department head, dean of arts, vice president academic, and then president, 12th president of Acadia University. He quoted John Henry Newman, who in a wonderful collection of ideas called The Idea of a University, defined the university as it is a place of teaching universal knowledge. And then he quickly turned actually, and I think interestingly, to Watson Kirkconnell. Dr. Kirkconnell, as president in 1948 during his installation speech, said that the function of a university is to think. If the answers to the riddles of our time are to be found, the universities must have a share in the search. So Jim was deeply concerned about the way that we understood the role of a university, and he shared at the time 4 elements that he was suggesting would be characteristic of his time at Acadia. The first 2 will not surprise anyone: teaching and research. The third one was hard work. And as someone who's the son of a steel worker for 44 years, certainly resonates with me. And he meant it in a couple of ways. He meant it literally, just the amount of work that's required to achieve excellence. So again, to our students, we ask it of you, but we try to hold ourselves up to the same standard. But he also meant it, I think, at the deeper level of a devotion, of a love of what it is that you do, and therefore your willingness to do more. And his last one, and anybody that knows Jim Perkin will understand this completely, was a call for tolerance. That universities have to be a place of tolerance. The other thing that Jim noted that I just thought was so powerful, he was just commenting on his pact with those gathered that day and talking about beginning his presidency. The privilege is one I take most seriously and pledge myself to work earnestly for the good of higher education in general and this university, Acadia, in particular. So Jim, today we get to honor you because I think you fulfilled that challenge that you put before yourself exquisitely during your tenure as president, came to embody many of the best academic attributes of the university, was a strong supporter of our students. Today we announce that we will rename University Drive, which is the curved walkway that our graduates come up to convocation, will be renamed Perkin Way. And so, Jim, with that, I'll call you forward.
Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, Honourable Senator, and friends, I'm deeply conscious of the honour that Acadia has done me, and I want to say a profound thank you. I wonder if you've ever noticed that in life certain aspects keep on reoccurring. It's almost like putting in a word in Google and a whole lot of other things spring to light. Strangely enough, that bit of roadway has many memories for me. In December of '68, I was driven up there on a fairly miserable December day. It was somewhat rainy and certainly foggy, but I remember as I was driven up that road, getting a very impressive picture of University Hall, and deep down feeling this is a place where I could work. We could go fast forward to the 150th anniversary, when that walkway was bedecked with banners and bunting and all sorts of decorations. There was a garden party, and it was literally the hottest day of 1988, and that gave me another impression. And then on the 21st of January 1989, we celebrated the first day of classes, and assembled down by the fire hall many hundreds of students and a few hardy citizens, and we processed up that bit of roadway to University Hall. When we arrived there, there were to be some speeches, 6 of them in all, but the 21st of January 1989 was the coldest day. There was a very beautiful scene. Wolfville had switched off its overhead lights. The ornamental lights were on the side of the sidewalks were glowing in a very attractive way. There were huge banks of snow, and we made our way up to the steps at University Hall. There was at that point a fairly brisk wind blowing off the dikes, and the temperature was -35. And so the speeches were commendably brief. And that was the road, of course, that I came up every day to work, so to speak. So these are memories, and to have that named in recognition is a great honor. So I want to say a profound thank you, and to wish the university well in its next 25 years at least, and to put in just a very brief sentence what I think the task of the university was and is and will be in the future. We give the students vast amounts of information, and somehow what we try to do is to help them turn that knowledge, and if you recognize an echo of T.S. Eliot, then that's deliberate. We help them to turn that knowledge into wisdom. And as they walk up to University Hall to receive their degrees, it's a great honor to me to think that they're walking on my bit of road, so to speak.
My final honor and final birthday celebration of us bestowing a gift is to an individual where probably needs no introduction, but equally requires on my part an ability to do justice to something that I think is difficult to do so, and that is to honor Arthur Irving. Mr. Irving has been attached to this university from his student days onward in a most profound way. And many of us will first think of the gift from Arthur and his family of the K.C. Irving Environmental Science Center and the Harriet Irving Botanical Gardens, the work that he has done to allow us to establish the Beaubassin Research Station in partnership with Irving Oil and Ducks Unlimited, his support for relationships that we have with Victoria University at U of T and Dartmouth College in the U.S., and many, many other aspects of support that he has provided to the university. The Research Institute in his name, the Arthur Irving Academy for the Environment, has given Acadia a profile and a capacity, frankly, that we would not have without his support. But the part that I'm most concerned about trying to do justice to is I've had the privilege, the honor of getting to know Arthur and Sandra, and Sarah's here today as well, as people. And it's been one of the best opportunities and experiences in my life. to get a chance to see someone who cares about others. If any of you don't know, Arthur just won a Red Cross Humanitarian Award, richly deserved and entirely based on a recognition that he first thinks of others. I did not have the privilege of knowing Arthur's father, Casey Irving, but it has been said by others who I trust implicitly that he got that quite honestly and quite naturally from his father. There are three aspects of Arthur that I want to share with you today as we bestow this particular recognition. The first is we've talked a lot about the academic mission of a university, the search for truth, the kind of pursuit of excellence, and on both of those things, I have learned much from my interactions with Arthur. He has an honesty, an integrity, a belief in others, and a willingness to put himself, I suspect he still does many business deals with a handshake, because when he shakes hands with you and shares a commitment, it is better than anything that any lawyer could construct in contractual terms. The second is a commitment to excellence, and you only need to either look at or step foot in the Casey Irving Environmental Science Center to understand that exquisitely. What I can say to you, since I've had the good fortune to see many different projects that Arthur's been involved in, that exists, that same standard that we are trying to achieve as an institution and trying to exhort our students to pursue, it is embodied in every last piece of work that he does. I've often used this, and I've heard others say it as well, and I think often when we say it, we mean it almost symbolically or metaphorically, which is, you know, when Arthur gets up in the morning, the first thing he thinks of is, how can I help Acadia? But I can tell you that's as close to a literal truth as you can possibly see. I have found Arthur, for me personally, to be an incredible inspiration, to be an incredible interpreter in some ways of the Acadia magic and spirit. But I've also felt the expectation that if you are going to be a member of the Acadia community, then you have an obligation, and I have that obligation, to try to pursue that same level of excellence and that same standard that he embodies. What our Board of Governors have approved is the Arthur L. Irving University Medal, and it's what we're announcing today. And the description is it will stand amongst Acadia's highest honors. Recipients of the medal will be individuals with a strong connection to Acadia University and whose accomplishments and/or contributions have brought eminence to Acadia in a way that clearly differentiates it from other primarily undergraduate universities. Recipients will have walked in Arthur Irving's footsteps by demonstrating a surpassing commitment to the future success of Acadia and a unique contribution to its reputation. And I will say on the day that we inaugurate this gift, because Arthur will be the first recipient of the medal and then others will follow and will also be in a display in University Hall so that, again, our students at Convocation can see it and be inspired as well. But I will say on the day that we announce this medal in recognition, the greatest challenge perhaps will be to find worthy recipients. So Arthur, please come forward.
Ray, this is not necessary. But Libby, Ray, and all Acadia in the room, I was traveling earlier this morning, and I didn't go home before I came here. And Ray, I forgot to put my pin on. Well, that's okay. But I think that Acadia means a lot to me, and that's straight up. And I think that Acadia is really an institution that everybody can be extremely proud of, because Acadia means something. It means a lot to us, and it's going to mean a lot to a lot of other young students that come here in the future. And Ray, we're very fortunate to have you here, because I don't know of a president of any university in Canada that I'd swap you for. And Dr. Ogilvy, you're the reason I'm here. You and Mr. Ellis came over to see me. And I tell you, I still wasn't going to come if it wasn't for my wife, Sandra. Says, Arthur, you've got to get over to Acadia and spend a little time there. And I can tell you that I've never regretted a moment here. I've never had a bad day at Acadia in my life. I don't know of any other institution I admire any more than Acadia. And I can tell any young student anywhere in the world, if they want to go to an undergraduate university, come to Acadia, because what they will learn in the classroom will be exceptional. It will be good. However, the association with student body, with the making friends, working with the faculty, they will leave here and have a passion for the institution. And you are going to be out on the road looking for support for 175 years. You'll get it. Nancy, thank you very much. I knew your dad well. He was a good guy. And I'm sure he's very happy today that you've honored him by having his name put on that rink, because the McCain family are a great family, and they've been hugely successful. And so Andrew will be skating hard when the name goes on. So, receiving a medal, you know, I wasn't a great student, Ray, you know that. But I learned an awful lot at Acadia. And it stood me in good stead over the years. And I can tell you, Ray, that having you here doing the job you're doing is really great. And we're not going to be upset when you forget your pin, because I tell you, we all have Acadia in our hearts. And I have, and I always will, and I won't be around in 25 years for the big 200, but I tell you, I'll be thinking about you. So thank you very much.
Can you have a better birthday celebration when you now forever in perpetuity have linked the memory and accomplishments of Clara Belle Marshall Raymond and Dr. Jim Perkin, Arthur Irving, and Andrew McCain that now will help define that next 25, 50, 100 years of this storied and wonderful university. So no birthday celebration would be complete without cake. So before we adjourn to a formal cutting of the cake and then a chance for everyone to have some refreshments, I am going to be joined by the Acadia cheer team, and we're going to ask everyone to stand, and we'll do stand up and cheer. So
stand up and cheer for